In the introduction to the flight planning course, we briefly mentioned the various sources of information available to you during the pre-flight planning stage. In this lesson, we shall look specifically at the Air Information Publication, which is abbreviated to AIP. For the purpose of illustration, we shall use the United Kingdom AIP. All ICAO contracting states publish their AIP in a common format with regard to its contents. In the UK, this is split into 3 volumes or parts. Part 1, known as AIP Gen, contains the following information: airfield location indicators, aerodrome flight information service and automatic terminal information service, and meteorological charts and information. We shall now look at each section of Part 1 in turn. The first part of the AIP Gen consists of location indicators. These are 4-letter codes assigned to licensed airfields, air control centres and flight information centres. You can see from the table that Aberdeen is assigned the location indicator Echo Golf Papa Delta. The first 2 letters, Echo Golf, denote the country, in this case the United Kingdom. The last 2 letters, Papa Delta, have been allocated to Aberdeen. Each country has its own unique identifier. For example, France uses Lima Foxtrot, so the indicator for Paris Charles de Gaulle is Lima Foxtrot Papa Golf. Similarly, Rome Ciampino is Lima India Romeo Alpha, because Lima India is the identifier for Italy. This section shows, in tabulated form, the hours of operation and frequencies of the Aerodrome Flight Information Service and the Terminal Information Service. The Flight Information Service gives information useful for the safe and efficient conduct of flights within the aerodrome traffic zone. The Automatic Terminal Information Service broadcasts routine arrival and departure messages either on a radio telephony frequency or on a VOR frequency. An example of an ATIS message is shown. Note that the message is prefixed by a letter, in this case Bravo. Each subsequent message will be allocated the next letter in alphabetical order. On first contact with the airport, the pilot is required to acknowledge receipt of the latest message by quoting the letter. In the pre-flight planning stage, weather information is normally obtained from typewritten terminal aerodrome forecasts, known as TAFs, and from meteorological aerodrome reports called METARs. The decodes for these are covered in the meteorological part of the syllabus. In-flight information may be passed to the pilot in the form of a significant en route weather report, SIGMET, or a special weather report, SPECI, on the ATC frequency in use. The phenomena which require a SIGMET are shown. Continuous broadcasts of weather reports can be obtained in flight on a system known as VOLMET. The frequencies and times of operation of VOLMET are tabulated in this section. We shall now look at UK AIP ENR, which is in Part 2 of the AIP and contains the information concerning en route navigation aids. Information regarding certain en route radio navigation aids is shown in tabular form. From the table can be found the name of the aid, its Morse code identifier, its frequency, the hours of operation, its geographical position in latitude and longitude, the height of the aerial if it is a DME, and finally, any remarks concerning its operational limitations. Significant navigation points which are not marked by a radio navigation aid, for example, an airway FIR crossing point, are given a code name of up to 5 letters. From the table, we can find the code name, its geographical coordinates, its significance, and its position relative to a co-located VOR DME. It is an essential part of flight planning that the pilot is aware of any hazards along the route. These are also found in the ENR section of the AIP in a self-explanatory tabular form. These hazards may consist of prohibited, restricted, and danger areas, military training and exercise areas, and areas of intense aerial activity, and other areas within which activities take place which could impose danger to aircraft. Finally, we can look at the information contained in Part 3 of the AIP, which concerns aerodromes and includes aerodrome communications facilities. The airfield names are listed in alphabetical order, so that we can easily find the airfield in which we are interested. Using Oxford Kidlington as an example, column 1 gives the service designation, columns 2 and 3 give the call sign and frequency, and in column 4 are given the hours of operation. Our final look at the contents of the AIP AD is that section dealing with aerodrome navigation and landing aids. The table is, once again, self-explanatory except, perhaps, for a couple of abbreviations in column 1. LLZ in column 1 refers to the ILS localizer. GP refers to the ILS glide path, and L refers to a low-power locator beacon. Occasionally, temporary changes to the information contained in the AIP are made. In these instances, an AIP supplement will be issued publicising those changes. All the supplements are filed in the Gen section of the AIP and are identified by their being printed on yellow paper. In addition to AIP supplements, temporary changes of operational significance are issued by the Aeronautical Fixed Service, abbreviated to AFS, in the form of a NOTAM, which is an abbreviation for Notices to Airmen. These will normally be found in a separate folder in the briefing room. There are 3 categories of NOTAMs. NOTAM N, which contains new information, NOTAM R, which replaces a previous NOTAM, and NOTAM C, which cancels a previous NOTAM. There are 2 special types of NOTAM, the titles of which are self-explanatory. The SNOTAM, which warns of snow-contaminated runways, and ASHTAM, which warns of volcanic ash cloud. Finally, there are the Air Information Circulars, which are issued on subjects of operational importance, and are of a temporary or semi-permanent nature. These are filed in a folder separate from the AIP and are colour-coded as follows. White is for administrative matters, such as examination schedules. Yellow deals with operational matters, such as airspace allocation. Pink is for safety matters, such as thunderstorm hazards, and are often the subject of an ATPL exam question. Mauve shows temporary airspace restrictions, such as air displays and military exercises. And the last section is green, which lists additions and amendments to aeronautical charts. This concludes this part of the pre-flight briefing section of the course. You should now be able to use the AIP and its associated documents, NOTAMs, supplements and AICs to obtain the information necessary to plan your flight.